everybody. The Peck Road Bakery is up and open tonight. I have let my sourdough starter rise, and I'm going to do something for the very first time. I'm going to make sourdough cinnamon muffins. And what's nice about this is I don't have to let it rise again. I don't have to stretch. I can just mix my dough, and then I'm going to put it into my greased muffin tin here, and then I'm going to put cinnamon sugar butter crumble on the top, and we're going to see if this works. I'm going to bake it at 350, and so wish me luck, but I thought you might like to see what I'm doing. So first off, I've been letting this sourdough ferment for the day. And when we do sourdough, we use a scale to measure, because it's a certain amount of grams that we use to mix the dough. And in the recipe we use 100 grams of this starter, which in my jar, it usually is just like right on the money. This stuff is really sticky, so I wet my fingers so I can get it off, because it's really hard to get it off, and it's gooey. So now I still got to scrape. I'm right now at 89 grams. So let's see if I can get this off. And that goes to 95. So, and I don't know if you can see, but I got some more kind of along the edges that I'll just take this cool little spatula, and then once again, 99, 100 on the dot. Perfect. So I'll rinse this off. Now what I do is I put my scale back to 0, 0, 0. There. I go back to 0 grams, and now I'm going to add 323 grams of water. So I'm just going to watch my scale. I've got a little bit much, so all I do is I'll just take a little scooper and scoop out. And I know this, it may seem picky, but I just try to follow the recipe. So I have this handy dandy mixer thing for mixing up the yeast and water. So I'm going to mix it for about 30 seconds. You kind of want the water to kind of get a milky white. And this really helps kind of separate the dough a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Now I have to add 465 grams of, I use King's flour, bread flour. So we're going to measure. Oops, I got to 0 it first. Okay. Okay, there's 250. And again, if you go over, you can always scoop it out. So right now I'm 400, and I need 465. Oops. Okay, so I went to 486. So we're going to scoop out a chunk. Perfect. All right, now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zero it out again, and I'm going to put 9 grams of salt. And this is some of that kind of fancy sea salt that you can buy. So all I do is I'll just shake, and I'm going to go to 9 grams. Perfect. Yay. Now I'm going to take my mixer again, and we're going to mix it with this first, but then I'm going to get my hands in there, and we're going to really mix it up with my hands to get the flour and everything in there good. And sour bread dough is, it looks kind of chunky, but as you mix it, you know, it kind of has a rough look to it. But it's really fun as you let it sit, how smooth it gets. I'll kind of show you what it looks like right now. Kind of lumpy and all that. But apparently for these muffins, it's okay, you know? I don't have to let them rise. I don't have to do anything. So now I'm gonna wet my fingers again because everything's kind of sticky. Now, you can also wear food-proof gloves, plastic gloves. I don't have any, so right now I just make sure I wash my hands and take all my jewelry off, and I kind of like the feel of the dough, to be honest. Okay, so we're done with that, and I think I'm going to put a little flour on my hands, so maybe it won't be so sticky feeling. So I'm gonna kind of mix it together like this, and I think maybe I'll do some water. It's kind of still sticking. It's nice that the water really is it's just easy, you know, you don't have to deal with, you know, some people don't like that texture of sticky and gooey. And okay, now it's still pretty sticky. I think for now, I am going to let this sit maybe for an hour, kind of let it settle down and get a little bit of a firmer feel to it. And usually it just takes maybe even 30 minutes. It might get a firmer feel to it. So for now, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna put a cover on this. And about 30 minutes later, I'll come back and check it because I don't quite want to use it quite like this. So I'll be back.